All right, what's up? Welcome to the Duole podcast, episode 114 with John Dalton, co-host Jake Cook. Grateful to share this episode with you. John Dalton is the man. You're going to love this episode. To hear John's story of his own personal life, his journey through fitness and cycling, and just self-exploration. John's a deep thinker, and it's fun to share an hour with him, learning his story and all about where he's been and where he hopes to go and why the dude is just so freaking strong. So grateful for John. Thanks for all of his wisdom. And more importantly, thankful for what a great teammate he is. John just is constantly, although he says he doesn't, he's constantly looking for ways to better the team, better those around him, and lift everyone that he's around. So super grateful for John, thankful for Jake, and thankful for everybody that's listening here. Grateful for the podcast to share everybody's stories and learn a bit about who is on this team and what makes it so special. So thanks for tuning in. We're so close to releasing the new kits. 2025 design is all dialed. We're getting some graphic images ready and the website ready. The ordering site is almost ready. So some super fun new designs and changes, especially we're doing something new for camp with jerseys and kits. I will not reveal that yet, but that's just a little teaser, something new for camp. But you're going to want to be there. So team camp in April 2025 is going to be a huge part, as always, about the team. So big thanks to all of our sponsor, especially cyclingupgrades.com. Grateful for Corby and all of our team members that make everything we do possible. This team is so awesome, and I'm grateful for each of you. Thanks for tuning in, and enjoy John Dalton. All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 114, John Dalton episode, and joined by Jake Cook, co-host. What's up, Jake?
Hey, what's up, guys?
Rivalry week. You wearing your blue?
Oh, baby, man, we're praying the gods are in our favor this Saturday. We'll see. So
these are the ones that wins, though. He can do it. I know he can.
Hey, we've got a chip on our shoulder, man. We got nothing to lose. So
the problem is if we win, I don't know if I'll be happy or just like more mad that they win this one and we can't win like a 2 and 3 team. So.
Oh yeah, totally. I agree.
John, you going to the game? Anybody going to the game?
Not going, but you never know when you have the animal backed into the corner what's going to happen. So
yeah, I agree. I like that. That might be the name of the podcast. John, of all the people I've ever asked to write an introduction, your wife was the most, like, she was very enthusiastic. It was rare. And then she got it to me like days ago. Usually it's like I'm begging. So thumbs up, Kathy. Thank you, Kathy.
Kathy she's the greatest, and she's super supportive, as we'll talk more about, I'm sure.
All right. I'll read our little paragraph from John's wife. Please interject, Jake, at any time. Born and raised in the Olympus Cove. I want to live in the Olympus Cove, by the way. John studied psychology at the University of Utah. How about that, John? How'd you pick that? Where'd that come from?
Just human behavior is fascinating to me. So yeah, psychology just kind of caught my interest, and I went with it.
Does it help now with like your job? I mean, is it something that I bet it does, right?
It 100% does. It's something that, I use every single day, and just continues to still be fascinated by, really.
So cool. A lot of people I asked about you, sorry, but I did. They all had the same, they all said, ask John about how he's like a deep thinker and how he thinks about stuff and people. And anyway, that's kind of cool. Very good.
Cool. Thanks. Yeah.
Incredible athlete with a diverse background, from cross-country running in high school to playing rugby into his late 30s. Holy cow. His journey into cycling began thanks to the encouragement of his friend and teammate, Eric. Very good, Eric. Thank you. Those whose support gave John the confidence to get back on the bike. John's passion for cycling is matched by his big heart, which he takes to a literal level. His resting heart rate, 44, often sets off alarms at ER. So good. I love that. Kristen does the same. Jake, I bet yours is super low.
Yeah, mine's probably in the 50s, low 50s probably. So
44. Are you okay, sir?
It's annoying in the ER when the nurses come running in. And, oh, he's fine. Yeah, for sure.
John is no stranger to the ER. Some may say he's a little accident prone. Others would say he's adventurous. Either way, Jon is a tough guy who constantly is looking to push his limits, both mind and body. A devoted father to 3 kids, 2 dogs, a husband to 1 lucky wife. Beyond his athleticism, Jon is passionate about mindset, consciousness, and the power of rewriting the limiting stories we tell ourselves. Ooh, Jon's a deep thinker and loves to philosophize about, well, almost anything. Dude, so good. That's why we're going to start off by philosophizing over ketones or gels, Jon.
Ooh, a good start.
Oh, we could start. If we want to start there, I'm still a gels guy, but I have been toying around with the
Mm,
ketones and
mhm.
um, you know, Formula 369 is always in my bottle and it's really good and those carbs are fuel, but I've had ketones a couple of times and you drink those on an empty stomach and there is no way you should be able to go like I've gone on ketones on an empty stomach. So there's something there for
This is
sure. I haven't
good.
quite
This is
figured
good.
it out.
Jake, are you
John,
going to weigh in?
are you doing those pre-race or are you doing those like pre-training ride or what are you doing?
I've done them kind of using immigration as the test. So I'd go on an empty stomach, drink a little capful like the dosage is, and just see how things went with just water in my
Yeah.
bottle. And did immigration like a 2 circuit one day and felt incredible. And then went back and did a 3X immigration circuit and
Yep.
felt really good. And so doing all that on an empty stomach, I feel like I could do it on the typical gels with carbs in my bottle sort of thing, but there's no way in my mind that I should be able to do that on an empty stomach and feel as
Right.
good as I did. So um, I'm not going to say one is better than the other, but I think they're equivalent. It's just different. It seems like it's just different fuel. So either one could work. So I'm looking
Incredible.
forward to trying it on a Zwift ride. We'll
Mm,
see about waking up in the morning and popping some ketones and see if that
mhm, mhm.
Wait,
ups the ante.
Is Zwift going on right now? I don't
Nope.
know if
Nope.
yeah, okay. That's
Nope.
what I thought. That's what I thought.
Nope.
Sorry, Clark.
Nope. 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 We've been riding outside all summer for this, Jake. This is why we ride.
That's it, man. Hey, it's still sunny outside right now. So we're good.
Jon, let's just talk about most recently, right? Your wife alluded to some injuries. Let's talk about your injuries. Is that okay? Can
Yeah.
you walk us through what happened and how you're feeling now and how recovery's been?
Yeah, so that's been another experience. I wouldn't want to do it over again, or I wouldn't wish it on anybody, but through that experience, I mean, there's some things that have happened, and I wouldn't trade those experiences for anything. So, yeah, I was going down an unfamiliar road out in Draper, a lot of train tracks, um, crossed a couple of them, was deep into a ride, and didn't see some tracks running parallel to my same direction. I think I may have caught the groove a slight bit, but I think my wheels just kind of hit the top of the metal of the track
Yeah.
and down I went. So
Oh,
hit my left hip really hard on the ground and knew kind of right off the bat that I was like, oh, that was a bad one.
yeah.
Some nice folks stopped and yeah, ended up breaking my pelvis in 3 different spots about 10 weeks ago. So tough deal. Certainly a super painful, probably the most painful experience I've had.
Really?
I like to think I've gone through some things, to give me at least a few indicators, but
Yeah.
did that. And I just am grateful to share so that if anybody else, I'd say to all the cyclists out there, be careful when you're crossing train tracks.
Oh,
They can take you down like they did me. So
dude.
now I know, right? You have to have just kind of some experience to gain the wisdom. And now I'm wise to the dangers of
Yeah.
train tracks and cattle guards. I'd say the same thing about.
I did
So
the same. I've done the same thing though. I mean, I agree with you. It is. I think, and every time you hit them, you're like, oh, everything's gonna be fine. Me and Jake almost watched my wife go down on cattle guards. It's just like a
Yep.
different beast. Oh, that sucks, man. What happened? Tell me about the first couple weeks. Like you're just in bed, immobilized, right?
yeah, well, I'd say, I mean, one of the things that I am super grateful for, and one of the coolest experiences that I can share with you guys and the team and others is just the support from the team. Eric, um, he knows me really, really well, and he's one of my best buddies. And so when this all happened in the ER, my wife sent him a text and said, "Hey, just so you know, John's down. He broke his pelvis. He's in kind of a bad spot in the ER." And I think on our team group chat, he threw something up, and um, kind of let everybody know. And so it was just really interesting. I mean, it was super painful in the ER, but I was able to, at one point, I just kind of closed my eyes sort of in a meditation and prayer sort of state. And um, it was just almost etheric, very spiritual, where I could feel the loving energy and thoughts and prayers coming my way. I didn't have specifics on like so and so and so and so and you and everybody else, but there was a tangibility to it where I knew it was people on the team and the immediate circle of those who had known, sending love and healing my way. And that was super cool. That's one of those experiences that I've had through this injury that, yeah, I wouldn't trade that for anything. It's hard to explain with words, but that was just super cool to have this sort of etheric spiritual moment where I just could feel everybody's love come in my direction, and then to be able to receive that. I know that is one of the things that has accelerated my healing 100%. There's no doubt in my mind.
That is so cool.
Awesome, man.
I've been on the receiving end of that, and it is hard to describe that how it's happening. I agree with you. Very
Yeah,
cool.
it's really cool. So I'm just super grateful, and that's one of the ways that being a bit new to the team, but being welcomed in and then having that support is just so meaningful to me, and I'm just something I'm so grateful for.
Well, and you had a great attitude. Like we were all watching you to win loaded Joe. I was like right there. I was like, dude, he's gonna crush. But you never had that weird attitude about it. It's cool to see how positive and like even to hear you now just say like you're grateful for. I mean, it's a crazy thing to be grateful for, but it is possible to be grateful for. So
Yeah,
nice.
I mean, there's a yin and the yang to everything, right? So yeah, one of the first thoughts I had laying on the pavement was, oh no, I'm not going to be able to do Lotoja. I'd looked out, looked forward to it, but my philosophy with cycling is that, it's a vehicle to help me be my best self. Um, and so having like a Lotoja isn't like the target necessarily. It's something, and it's certainly something to look forward to, but it's not my thing. So being able to do it is definitely like an incentive, but it's not the thing that gets me out of bed in the morning is to do Lotoja. What gets me out of bed is something a little bit more deeply rooted.
It's awesome, man. So good.
John, where have you been in our team? I can't
It's
you why have we missed you for so many years?
I was playing rugby, I guess you could
I
say.
guess so. Okay. For those that don't know you, maybe a little background. Is that okay? Childhood, family, sports,
Sure.
maybe your family. Okay, let's do it.
Yeah, so I grew up in the Olympus Cove, went to Oak Ridge Elementary, Churchill Junior High, Skyline High School, in Skyline, and most likely due to the influence of Highland High's rugby program, I started playing rugby, and
Mhm.
playing rugby was just kind of my mix of things. I would run cross country in the fall, and my family's big runners, but I'm built a little bit different than my family members. I've got about 30 pounds on everybody and have had that for a while. So when I found rugby, running in the fall and then the physicality of rugby in the spring was awesome for me. Um,
Mm.
so I picked up playing rugby, played rugby at Skyline, University of Utah, and then onto a men's club called Haggis.
Mm.
Played on that all the way up until I think my last year playing was the inaugural year of what was the Utah Warriors, kind of a semi-pro team at that point, and just got to the point where being in your mid to late 30s, the recovery wasn't like it used to be, and so you'd play games on the weekend. I'd spend all week recovering, only to recover maybe just in time or not fully recover and be thrown back into it. So that just got to be a drag, and I thought, all right, I'm going to get to where my kids can see me play, which I achieved. And then I choose, I can go back and play if I desire, but no, I don't want to do that. It just is too hard to recover. It's a tough sport, but
Yeah.
super grateful for rugby and the camaraderie. I think there's a lot of correlates to cycling in the sense of, especially with the team, right? It taught me how to suffer. It taught me how to get up off the ground and run and support my teammates. And you find out a lot about your friends and your teammates when you're in that kind of an environment. And I think cycling has a lot of that aspect as well.
Very cool. Wait, I gotta share my screen. We don't have to go deep here, John, but just a taste. Just tell us a little bit. If you're watching the YouTube video, there is a medal for the Salt Lake Indoor Rowing Championships that John won.
This is funny, yeah. So this is something like I'm one of my new beliefs, right? About 5 or 6 years ago, I started to just try to examine everything. I kind of came to a place in my life where I was like, all right, call it a midlife crisis or what you will, but there were just some things that I started to do a lot of inspection and introspection on. And one of those was learning how to do uncomfortable things. And I don't know if there's any workout out there that is more uncomfortable than a row machine workout. So I thought, all right, well, this is uncomfortable. I don't like it, so I'm going to do it. You lean into the hard thing. So I started using the row machine at my work. And I mean, I started to develop a love-hate thing with that machine, and the benefits are awesome. Every time I go sit on that machine, I think, what am I doing? I'm going to sit down for 30 minutes and bust my guts. Yeah. And used that. And last year in the off, I thought, well, I'm going to do another uncomfortable thing. The Salt Lake Rowing, they have an indoor championship. I'm going to get uncomfortable. I'm going to go to this thing. And I showed up. And I sit down with all these guys in leotards and things like that. And I'm just in my gym. And so I competed and did okay. I finished first, but then they age corrected for the Masters, and like a 68-year-old guy was the first place finisher, which is all good. I mean, super impressive, but age corrected, I placed third, but I like to say I beat all the old guys, and I'm one of those old guys. So that's what that medal's all about.
That's awesome.
But the row machine, I don't talk about that a lot, and I hate almost to put it on here, but if any, I mean, it is a secret weapon, and it's not so secret anymore. But yeah, if you want to improve your cycling and your cardio fitness, just do a row machine workout. Yeah.
Nice. Cool.
John, what helps you like kind of foster this kind of mentality, or like adapt this kind of mentality of like, hey, I'm just gonna go sign up for this rowing competition, or hey, I'm just gonna jump back into cycling. I'm gonna go crush everyone on Zwift. I'm gonna go do loaded jump. I mean, I'm gonna go really like. I mean, I've watched you over the last couple of years, and I mean, this guy would speaking of you, would slowly show up to Zwift, and you just like, who is this guy, right? And then I don't know. I would love to just kind of get into your brain a little bit and see like what's helped you foster this kind of mentality. Just like go get it, like bring on the challenge.
Well, thanks, Jake. I'll give you a little bit of a story, but like as I kind of hit this patch in my life about 6 or 7 years ago, I read this book that really opened my eyes and my mind to some different things. It's a book called Code of the Extraordinary Mind. Okay. And the takeaways from that book were basically using your emotions as an indicator system. And I'd never thought about that before. I started to realize that I would feel emotions and I was unconscious about them, especially like emotions of like the negative emotions like anger or jealousy or, and there's a lot of energy in those emotions, but like I was never conscious of them. And so this book outlined, when you feel a certain emotion, identify it, be aware of it, but then look what's underneath it. And so I started to look at some of those things, and they started opening my eyes to what was making me angry or what was making me sad or whatever. And then the second takeaway from that book is that once you identify what's underneath, it usually correlates to a belief set or a belief that you have. And that book goes into how we can take our beliefs and examine them. And if we find that there's limitation in those beliefs, then we can basically take those out like a computer chip and plug in an upgrade. It's just a matter of finding the path to get there and to become aware of our limitations. And so a lot of that, came from that book. And then in relation to that, I went to a seminar and I heard a mindset coach. His name is Jim Quick. I heard him speak, and he took it a step further, where he said, if you want to start also understanding more about yourself and your limiting beliefs, start listening to the words that you say to yourself and to others. And some key words were, every time you hear something that is a can't, that is a not, use those as your indicator to say, hey, I might have a limiting belief here. So funny story to go along with that is I took that home and I thought, golly, let's start messing around with this. It wasn't soon after that I was talking to somebody and they were talking about pull-ups. And I said, yeah, I'm no good at pull-ups. I'm a bigger guy, a little bit tall, and I said, I'm no good at pull-ups. I've never been able to do pull-ups. And right there in my head, I thought, I just, there they are, indicators. So I decided that I was going to put this to task. I started going around I would walk my dogs in the morning. Every time I passed a playground, I decided that I was going to go try to do pull-ups. I couldn't do a single pull-up, like I couldn't do a single one. But if I just went and I would hang on the bar, I would put my muscles under tension. Well, soon enough, I started to do 1 or 2 or 3 pull-ups, did that over the course of a few months and got to a point where I could do like 12 to 15 pull-ups. And I thought, gosh, put it to use. And now I can say, yeah, at that time, the other advice that Jim Quick gave me in that seminar, he said, just add a yet. When you say those phrases to yourself, especially through your inner dialogue, just say, I'm no good at this yet. Just psychologically give yourself a program that empowers you to change that if you decide. And so that was it might sound like a sort of trivial example, but that was really a foundation for me of like having this shift from what my mindset and belief set was before to now all of a sudden say, this is interesting. I can expand my beliefs. I can take out these things and upgrade them for something better.
It's really good, John. It's really good.
Yeah, so that's where it comes from, Jake, is just and then part of that is anytime there's something uncomfortable or that my emotions are saying, don't go there. You're going to be, you're going to be the only one that shows up to that gym your age, or you're going to be the only guy that shows up without a leotard on to do the row comp, It's like, no, you go and show up. And I even felt that this spring, right? Doing a couple of races. And there again, that's where the team was so supportive, where it's nerve-wracking being a 45-year-old guy showing up for a bike race, not ever having done it before. And you go there, you're nervous and you see some familiar faces and like, okay, I can do this. This is an uncomfortable thing, but I'm here to do it.
Dang, so good. John, do you feel like those things translate to other areas of your life? I mean,
I think it permeates everything, to be honest. I think that, I would just say that prior to this patch that kind of allowed me to gain a new sense of awareness, I'd say I had kind of a fixed mindset. And now I would say I ascribe to having a growth mindset. There's a great book also called Mindset, and the author goes into those kinds of things. And I would think that now I'm always trying to examine and dissect things and find where I'm limiting myself or find where I'm reinforcing limitation and trying to change that out for something that's more expansive and more empowered.
Yes, this is what cycling's. I wonder if cycling's going to be the end. I mean, I wonder if 10 years John's going to be into like, I don't know, curling or something crazy.
World's strongest man or something like that.
Like, this is expanding me now. I'm done with that sport.
Go from leotards to Speedos, man. That's what he's gonna be.
Well, there's the spandex in cycling, so that's nice. I mean, I could show up, I guess, in a bike kit.
Nice. Can you talk about maybe your history? We all know your brother Matt. Matt's ridden with the team for a while. Can you talk about how you met the team and maybe where you live now and favorite place just maybe a little background about how you connected with us?
Yeah. I mean, I have known about the team through my brother, but when I wasn't cycling, I mean, I kind of was on the bike 10 years ago, 12 years ago. And back then, all of my athletic training was just to the end of playing rugby. So I sort of dabbled with it, I guess you could say. So at that time, I knew of the team, but I wasn't cycling enough to really have an understanding of it. And then living in the Holiday area, I live just in Mill Creek above Wasatch Boulevard. You see the guys around, and then my good buddy Eric Lavin, who's also on the team, he helped get me back on the bike, showed me the way, and that I'm super grateful for. And we started biking a lot together. I would then have the confidence and I'd go out and bike on my own sometimes, but it was he and that's kind of what I limited my cycling to. And then, I had other friends that were on the team that I played rugby with, even, Mark Numbers, Jake Anderson,
That's right.
knew Ben Brooks through some mutual backcountry skier friends. So I had a lot of, and, my brother had a lot of folks that I knew who were on the team, but still was just kind of like, a cycling club, cycling team.
Leotard party.
Yeah. But Stu, I would say, when you and I met, that was one of these experiences, when I met eyes with you in Mill Creek Canyon, when you stopped to see me, I would tell you that was super special for me, because what that taught me in that moment, laying on the ground, is here's a guy who doesn't know me at all, who stops and cares. And there was just something about, again, that sort of energetic transfer or signature with the look that we traded. And that's something I'm super grateful for. So that impacted me, right? When I'd started cycling more, I was in pretty good shape. And I had that accident up Mill Creek Canyon 3 years ago now. And just that moment of care, really was positive to me. So I then ended up doing Lotoja last year. Found out real quick I was super uncomfortable riding with other people, and I didn't like it. I thought that was an the discomfort that was just too much for me. Riding in a pack during that race just freaked me out. I thought, I've got to learn. I have got to sort this out. So about a year ago this time, actually, when I first paid my dues to the team, and thought this is a great avenue. All of these sort of experiences and people that I knew coalesced. Eric joined the team before me. So I thought, well, crap, my riding buddies joined the team now. So I got nothing to lose. So just went for it. Yeah. Nice. The rest is sort of history, I guess you could say. That's how I ended up getting connected with the team, through a lot of different experiences that almost seemed like, hey, this is where you got to go next.
Nice. I have another infographic for those watching YouTube. You ready? This is a screen capture. It was only on November 19th, 2023, that Jon participated in his first. This is less than a year ago that you were on your first Zwift. We need to have like an anniversary party for the first Zwift ride you participated in.
Oh, that's funny.
Isn't that funny?
It's my second season doing Zwift, so
crazy.
maybe I'm just not sick of it yet.
I feel like we've been on this thing for decades.
I mean, I even feel like, Jon, you've been on Zwift longer than, when Stu said that, just showed that, I'm like, there's no way.
It's crazy. I know.
Like, what?
So I think we started, Jake, the winter of 17 to 18.
Yeah.
18 to 19, 19 to 20. Oh.
Yeah, so I still love it. I thought, man, Zwift is such a great tool. I got stronger last off season for sure. So yeah, like I always joke about, right? Like, this is what we've trained for, is to be on Zwift, baby.
Nice. All right. Should we do some rapid fire? I don't know if they're rapid fire questions. We don't have to be fast, but these are just some of the things I think are kind of fun to know. Jake, you want to pick a couple of your favorites?
Yeah.
I want to know, Jon, when you're like, you got to whatever, anytime, where do you want to go? What's your favorite? What have you do you want to do short and sweet, something long and nasty, loop, canyons? What's your favorite thing to go ride?
Oh man, my favorite ride is one I kind of concocted myself, that I call the 7 Dam ride. So it's you go and you don't go to them, but you see them, but you see all 7 dams of the reservoir, reservoirs around Utah. So my route was go up American Fork, stop at Tibble, go up and over and down to Heber Midway. And so there you see Deer Creek, cruise through Heber and Midway and go over around the backside of Jordanelle. So you see Jordanelle is your third one.
Dang. Okay.
And go to the backside of Jordanelle, continue north until you get to Rockport.
Okay. Yep.
Go around Rockport, go up around Echo, which I think that's your fifth one is Echo. You go around the backside of Echo Canyon, come down into Hennifer, go up Hennifer to East Canyon, and that's your sixth. And then up and over Big Mountain, and then you see Little Dell, and then come back home down Immigration. And you've got 7 dams and about 160 miles, and I think it's 12,000 vert. So
Wow.
that's an awesome ride. So if I could go and I could do any ride under perfect conditions, yeah, I would do that one. That's a great. I figured, so I did that the year last prior to Lotoja, and I thought, okay, if I can do that ride by myself, I can go do Lotoja by myself. So that gave me the confidence to be all by myself if I had to be through Lotoja, which ended up being a really good thing.
That's a beast. Okay.
That's a beast ride.
Good route.
That is a beast ride. That is a beast ride.
Yeah, well, we'll use gels, but not ketones on that.
John, you know I'm a big gear guy. So what bike do you ride? Let's tell us about your gear.
Yeah, I used to have a Scott Addict. Prior to that, a Cannondale, but in February I got an SL8, an S-Works. Man, I love that bike.
The white one.
It's crazy how much the gear can make a difference. I loved my Scott, but yeah, I love that SL8. It's so smooth and fast, and yeah, it's a game changer for sure. Nice. Yeah, so that's my bike. I love that thing.
Cool. Right. Do you have a gravel bike, mountain bike at all too, or just road?
I don't yet.
Yes.
I'm just a road. Yeah, I'm on the road. I'm not so sure about gravel. I think my next step would be a mountain, but man, there's just something about getting out on the road and not zoning out, but like when you start going up a canyon and you can just kind of get that rhythm going and you just start cranking the pedals, and I just love that stuff. And I don't have enough experience to say definitively, but like I know on a mountain bike you're kind of head on a swivel. There's a lot of technical stuff, and you don't maybe get into that same sort of meditative state.
Don't say you can't, John. Yet.
Yeah, you got to add that yet.
Nice, Jake. Any like if you're on a ride, John, and you're sharing war stories, do you have any most memorable or favorite experiences to share from? I guess it doesn't even have to be from a bike. You've been on a lot of incredible athletic achievements, adventures. So anything kind of stand out from your life?
Well, if it were my rugby years, I had some good achievements. Winning a men's club national championship was a lot of fun. I think we're still the only team in Utah rugby history that on the men's side that won a national club championship. So that was that was a ton of fun, just getting to know the guys and doing all that kind of stuff. And some of those experiences, I call them kind of matrix moments where you're on the field and you have the camaraderie, but it's almost like things slow down. And, I know, Jake, you played a lot of football, and Stu, you've got some athletic background as well. And it's kind of like everything slows down and you meet eyes and you pass the ball or you are in a position and just things happen almost like you're in the matrix. And so some of those things are those are unforgettable. So those are some great moments from the rugby days. But, my most memorable things on the bike have been, team camp this year was awesome in the spring. I had a ton of fun doing that. The experiences I've had through both of my accidents have just been transformational, so those are things that are just really near and dear to me, things I've learned through those experiences. And so
what about your recent PR KOM immigration party? Is that legal to talk about? I feel like it's not getting enough hype, to be honest.
Oh, well, I wasn't there on the day they did it.
Oh,
I was trying to be a helper
too. Okay.
Yeah, wasn't there 2 attempts or something like that? I think there were
3.
2 attempts.
3. Okay.
Okay. So you weren't there for it. I'm sorry.
No, I wasn't there, but I wanted to. I was honored that I'd be asked to help. I felt like I could have, but yeah, they've got it on the third try. So
Hmm. Okay.
yeah, and thank goodness those lights are gone. That's why, I would love to try to go up and set my own PR up immigration this year, but maybe that time is past, and that's
No
all
way.
good.
We got 40-mile-an-hour tailwinds now. This is the time of year to do it.
Maybe so. We'll see.
John, if you had a candy to PR up on, if you had a goal, I mean, you don't need to share the beans, but what would it be?
Man, it might just sound drab, but I love immigration. The gradient,
Hmm.
I know that thing so well. I love how it challenges you. I love how you can make it as hard as you want to. I love the finishing uphill, just the mental battle that it is when you make that right hand hairpin and you get hit in the face with the wind and you're trying to get a time and you just got to go for it and you got to just
Yep.
I just love that. That is super fun to me. Call me a masochist, but I'm not a
No,
masochist.
no,
I
it's
just
good.
love that stuff.
That's awesome, man.
Very good.
Awesome.
Um, John, tell us a bit about your brother Matt asked me to ask you a little bit about nutrition, routine, and he said you've lost quite a bit of weight over the last 6 years. Do you want to talk about that journey?
Yeah, gosh, that's part of, going back to that limiting belief. Yeah, there was a morning, it was a very distinct morning that I had where I got out of bed, I walked to the end of my bed where I make a left-hand turn to get to the door, and I turned and a large part of my body didn't make the turn with me, and then it came back and just kind of chicka 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 like a bowl full of jello. And I was like, oh
Sound
my
effect.
goodness. I was like, what is happening? Uh, and that was one of those things where I was like super frustrated. I started to look at that and I was like, what has happened? I think I was up to 260, 270 at that point. And lost discipline, so I started to dissect that and I thought, man, I've lost discipline. I've got to do something. I wasn't playing rugby anymore. I didn't really have anything that I'd replaced it with yet.
Hmm.
And I just thought I got to do something. So the way this leads into nutrition, at that point, I actually got a Peloton. That was my first foray back into it. Set a goal that wasn't a traceable goal, other than my goal was I'm going to do this Peloton every single day. Unless I'm out of town or something, but I'm going to get on this thing every single day. It wasn't a weight loss goal or anything like that, but started doing that as far as nutrition. And then I practice now what I call conscious eating. I realized at my work, especially, the food that would show up, the boxes of crumble cookies, right? That
Mm.
somebody brings in and they're sitting there and you take one back to your office. And at the end of the day, that cookie's gone. And I don't remember eating it. I mean, it was good, I'm sure, but you got, 2,500 calories in your system. And I realized that I got to that point of, bowl full of jelly by not being aware. So I adopted this new approach where it was like, okay, I'm just gonna bring some awareness. I'm gonna make sure, because I'm an adult, I can make choices, I can have what I want, but I'm going to make sure that that is worth it. And I'm not a calorie counter, but I started to realize that if I'm working really hard on a workout, if I'm doing a 30-minute row, that's 500 calories. And to burn 500 calories in 30 minutes, you are working. And I think the same is true on a bike. Burning 500 calories per 30 minutes is kind of my goal.
Hmm.
And if you equate that to food, that's like 3 Cokes, that's 3 cans of Coke.
Right.
And I'm like, man, if it's so hard to do these workouts. And I thought, I'm not going to negate that by something that I'm really not going to enjoy. Now, don't get me wrong, I might eat that crumble cookie, but I'm doing it now with an awareness saying,
Mm.
yeah, I'm good with it. And I think that from an energetic standpoint, I believe a lot in that, a state of being standpoint. It's different if you are in an empowered state engaging in a behavior. If you're in a state of shame and, oh, I really shouldn't be doing it, and then you're beating yourself up after you eat the cookie, I think that your state of being adopts this, I'm going to hang on to these calories. I'm going to hang on to this thing. I'm not, because I need this. And I think it changes the dynamic when you are more of a, hey, I can have this. I can do this. and maybe in the food and nutrition sense, it sticks to you less. So I started doing that, and I still do that. I make weighted decisions on what I eat and consume. I try to eat clean, but I'm certainly not you know, a super
weighing your food.
restricted.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I just that's my thing is, I try to be conscious about what I'm eating. And if I choose to have a box of nerds, yeah, I'm having the box of nerds.
I love
And it's great.
nerds. I freaking love nerd
And I don't beat
clusters.
myself up about it, but I make that decision before it goes down the hatch.
Like, I'm going to eat these candies, which are basically plastics, and I'm going to love them.
Yeah. And then you enjoy the heck out of them, then
Amen.
it's a totally different thing. And you're not like, and then when you're sitting on the couch, you're not like, oh man, I shouldn't have eaten that. You're like, man, that was totally worth it. That was super good. Yeah. Yeah. So it's just I look at that as like my little training example of like your state of being. I think that holds true to almost anything. If you're doing something and you're in an empowered sort of state, the energy about your action is going to carry a different weight with it than if you were, oh no, I shouldn't be doing this, but I'm going to go do it anyway.
Yeah. Great advice, John. I need you on the coaching staff of Olympus Mountain Biking. These philosophies are wonderful. Very
Oh,
good.
thanks. Yeah.
Jake, any I don't know, any comments, thoughts, questions?
No, I think I mean, John, it's really, you know, good to hear your kind of story and kind of your journey through cycling and just in life, right? Like being a collegiate athlete myself, hearing your kind of stories of rugby, I mean, all kind of correlate with me, and losing weight too, correlates with me too. And I think it's good to kind of know that there's other people on the trying to get to the same, are going the same journey, right? Trying to get to the same end goal. And I just think it's just really refreshing to kind of hear your point of view and just your experience. And I think the people listening to this are have really benefited from hearing your experience. And it's just been great to be on here too. So
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Jake. I appreciate it. The way I see it is, gosh, if I can do it, Stu, back to your question about weight loss. Yeah, I think cumulatively, yeah, I've lost 60 or 70 pounds twice, because I gained it all back after my accident in Mill Creek Canyon. So the first time was great. The second time was a different experience because I knew I could do it and I had done it before, but it was still super challenging. So going through all of those, that's been super helpful. So now I look at it and think, gosh, if I can do it, anybody can do it. It's just, part of it is how bad do you want it? And then having the right tools available to you. And certainly that's where I'm super grateful for cycling and the team, because with my frame, impact and running is not where it's at for me. So being able to get on a bike and bike every single day, if I want to, or a row machine where I can do that, that is super helpful for me.
Nice.
great. Eric wanted us to ask you, John, tell us a little bit about how it was shaking your legs for the first time. How did you feel?
Yeah, I told her. Yeah, let's hear it.
Oh, nice. Well, I have Eric to thank for that. I mean, and thanks to Adam Barker and the Bolt Shave, yeah, that's awesome. So he convinced me. He just said, you can't knock it until you try it. And he said, the first time you try it and you get into
Dave Britton, are you listening? Dave Britton, I'm calling you out.
like, if you do it and you get into bed, just notice how you're going to feel so good with your legs on those sheets. And then he's like, and then do it and go swimming, and you're going to feel like a dolphin in the water. And I'm like, whatever, Eric. Lo and behold, man, I don't know, shaved the legs, and I'm not looking back. So,
you're saying this spring was like the first time you ever did that?
Oh yeah, it was.
Oh,
well,
wow.
no, I did it last year. Yeah, last year I had engaged the shaving of the trunks. So cool. Yeah, I think it's, and then people say you gain some wattage or whatever. I don't know how true that is, but I'll take it.
From my perspective, there's like, I want everybody to interact with the team how you do, John. Like, it's like, I know that everybody's personalities are different, right? And so some are timid or kind of like whatever. But the way you've just kind of said, I'm in, I'm doing it, I'm supportive, I'm a friend, I talk to you, I show up to stuff. That's just awesome. So if you were going to give advice to like somebody new or whatever, is that, I mean, is that the advice you would give, or is there any other, what would you say to like someone new that's just starting in to this sport?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I'd say is just lean into it. Um, I had a lot of moments, kit pickup, I'm walking into hangar 15 and I'm feeling uncomfortable, right? And I'm going, man, I've only seen these guys on Zwift. And I'm going to see all these different faces and all these different dudes and, super uncomfortable, right? But
Mm,
you just lean into it and you go for it. And
mm,
now as I look back over the last year, I can just 100% say that like I have benefited so much further beyond what I have invested into the club.
mm,
And I am grateful for you saying that, Stu. I mean, I always feel like I can do more and I want to do more, especially now, whether it's, the love and support after the accident to the referral to Dean Walker after my accident to give me the comfort in the ER that everything's going to be fine, just to the banter on Zwift, to the faces you see at races, the replacement kit for my shirt and my jersey and shorts from just all these different elements. I could never have expected to gain that from a year
mm.
ago when I signed up for the club. So I would just say, yeah, just lean in and go for it. Be uncomfortable. Everybody's been there, even the seasoned vets, maybe at some point we're uncomfortable, but just go for it. And I'm confident you'll get out a lot more than you put in.
Mm. Law of the harvest, John. Very good. I love that. Jake, any questions for John as we kind of wrap up, or I don't know, anything you want to ask?
No, I mean, John, I think you've highlighted a lot of good things. I think one big takeaway for me in this whole thing is find the comfortable in being uncomfortable. You know what I mean? Like you've mentioned uncomfortable a bunch of times, and I think those listening to this, and I think everyone who's joined the team at some point joining this team has felt uncomfortable, right? Whether they're out of shape, whether they're not, don't feel as fast, or I mean, I know I've been there, right? And I think it's comforting to know that there's other people that are sharing the same sentiment, but really finding being comfortable in the uncomfortable is it's okay to do that, right? It's okay to feel uncomfortable, and again, think show up, keep showing up, and keep driving, and I think that's I mean, you talk about the team. I mean, the team just it's more of a community, right, rather than a team. And I think that's one thing I really love about this team. And Stu's the driver of this. Stu just really hits this home every time. Is just really reaching out to folks and guys, and I've had the same experiences that you've had with Stu, right? Him looking in the eyes and knowing that he's there, right? I think I've had a lot of those experiences with a lot of guys on this team too, and so I think it's just you know find being knowing that you can be comfortable in the uncomfortable. I think is a big takeaway for me today.
Yeah. Thanks, Jake. I would,
Jake, it
yeah.
happens best on Zwift, Jake. That's where it really happens.
Dude, riding at 23 degrees in the morning is
No,
being
no,
comfortable,
that's not where
that's where I'm comfortable.
Yeah, that's funny. Well, it's
Sorry,
those
John, I cut
emotions.
you off.
Well, it's those. I was just going to reinforce there. It's those emotions, right? When our bodies and our emotions are doing all this stuff to tell us, don't go there, don't do that, don't talk to them. You're gonna, you just have to overcome those things and lean in. And the other element of about that emotion kind of indicator system is you just add the tool underneath all of that is the awareness that you add to things. And you say, hey, I'm feeling this. What's underneath it? And then you dissect that. And that's at least been my tool that I would give advice to a younger guy or a younger me is just say, just look one step deeper beneath why you're uncomfortable. You'll find out that it's okay to feel that way, but that you can overcome it. And just adding awareness to something, whether it's eating or engaging with the team or making the uncomfortable comfortable, just adding that awareness can get you through.
Nice. Very good. John, awesome. Although I felt this morning talking about your pelvis, there were a few that were uncomfortable about constantly referencing your pelvis. Did you feel the same
Well,
way?
I don't know. I don't know if that was. I thought maybe this was a. Well, let's keep this from going off the precipice of the
Thank
Zwift
you.
banter.
Yeah, we did good.
But
With
yeah,
Tiff there, we have to be careful. So very
yeah,
good.
you never want
Yeah.
that. So
John, one final thing. Where are you at in recovery? I mean, I don't think we really maybe hit on that, but where
Oh
are you
yeah.
at now?
How you
Like, where are
feeling?
you at in
10
recovery
weeks.
now? How does your leg feel? Your pelvis? I mean, where are you at now? What does the next 6 months look like for you?
I mean, I feel really good. You know, Dr. Dean gave me advice to just do everything that I could, tolerate according to my pain level. And so that's really helped my healing. So, being out on the bike, I feel like everything's fallen into place. There's still some weakness, I think. I don't know if my left leg is like fully there, but I mean, I'm super happy with the progress. So, um, prognosis is to make a full recovery, and I think it's just strengthening muscle. I don't even know if it's strengthening muscle as it is just getting everything to where it's firing normally. So
Sure.
yeah, I feel really good about it. And gosh, there's one other thing I just have to say to all the guys like the Dave Kirby's and Andy Compass, who we were going through our pelvis stuff together. He was a couple weeks ahead of me with his injury. Geez, just to feel the love and compassion for guys who had been through it. Hopefully I can be the same thing and do the same for others that experience that in the future, because it's a tough deal, but again, something that I know we can overcome.
Yeah, it is tough.
So,
Okay, fellas. Way to go, John. Thank you. Appreciate your time. Jake, thank you for your time. I know a busy day at work for everybody, so this is awesome. Thanks, guys.
John, great to be with you, man.
Thanks, Jake. Thanks, Stu. And thanks for all you guys do for the team, and glad to be part of it.
Yeah. Okay, guys. See ya.
Awesome.
Thanks, John.
Take care.
See ya.